And as I say, you worked as the supervising sound editor on The Godfather. And I was wondering if I could ask you about a really specific detail in that film. I'm not sure if you'd be able to recall it for me, but I've heard you talk before about the final scene of that film where Michael and Kay, Diane Keaton's character, there's a divide between them, and one of Michael's aides, mafioso aides, closes the door on Kay, and it's the shot that ends the film. And I've heard you talk before about how the sound of finding the perfect door closing, was of quite a tough thing to find. Like it sounded like you spent quite a long time recording different sounds of different doors shutting, and and just sort of finding the perfect sound for that. And I was wondering if you could maybe talk me through what that process was like. How long did it take you to find the perfect door shutting sound?
Yeah, you have to kind of go back in time, 50 plus years. Um, and at that time, most of the stock sound effects for film were inherited from the old days where sound was recorded on optical sound. And they had transferred all of those sounds to magnetic sound, but they still had that kind of 1940s, 1930s sound to them. So when I was going through the library at Paramount, I kept shaking my head thinking, these are terrible, because I had, as a teenager, fallen in love with the tape recorder, which was magnetic. So the fact that movie sound, this amazing medium of movie sound, was still wedded, just on practical sense, to a lot of the old sound effects. And also at that time, for most films, the approach was just put some sound on it and get it out there. There were some films that paid attention to sound, but most of them were just trying to do the most efficient, cheapest, but adequate way of putting the sound in. So there were some door closes, naturally, and they were all, in my view, terrible. So I went around, this is in San Francisco, listening to doors, thinking, is that the door? No. It's also was important for me, I mean, this is a personal thing, that was the last sound effect in the film. And for all we know, we didn't know that Godfather 2 would ever be made. We didn't know that this would be a huge success, but it was just, whatever that sound is, it needs to be good, meaning solid and firm, but with a hint of absolutism that Michael had just lied to Kay. So this was him shutting her out of a whole part of his life. So it had to, in some ineffable way, talk about that. And ironically, the sound, that particular door was a door in Francis Coppola's house in San Francisco, which was an old Victorian house built by the sugar magnate, the Spreckels family, in the late 19th century. And so everything was solid wood. And it happens that the director of The Godfather owned the house in which I found the best sound. I mean, I'm going into obsessive detail here, but you asked for it.
Yeah, please, this is what we're here for. I mean, did you just literally have like a Niagara tape recorder, and you would have sat there and you just shut the door and like held it up and recorded it? That just simple as
That
that?
that's it. Yeah.